Okay, so let's start seated today. Just crossing one shin in front of the other. It might feel nice to sit up on a blanket, especially if you tend to be a little tighter in the hips and the pelvic girdle. If it's hard to sit tall, a little proppage will feel good. And you can take a blanket or two, you can sit up on a block. Let's just cross our right shin in front of our left shin. You can kind of gently flex the feet here. It's fine if you need to come a little wider, especially if the hips are tight. And then let's roll our shoulders back a few times. Whoa. Mine feel extra crunchy today. I'm blaming it on the cold snap. All right, let's roll forward. Good, and then back again. Just release your shoulder blades down your back so you feel nice and tall, lengthening through the sides of your waist here. Close your eyes if they're not already. Take a deep inhale. Open the mouth, sigh the breath out. Ha. Do that a couple more times. So just kind of triggering the idea in your brain that you're landing on your mat. You're going to start to pay attention to your body, to the sensations that you're feeling today. You're going to let go of the to-do list. You're not going to worry about all of the things that you might be worrying about. It's all going to be there later, but we're going to give ourselves a little break. At least our brain's a little break. Maybe our body's not so much. So as you feel ready, you start to find that rhythm of your Ujjayi breath. So that nice deep inhale through your nose, that full complete exhale through your nose, you begin to create that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. And it should be audible to you. You don't need to overdo it. There's some effort there. Observe if one feels easier than the other today. Sometimes it's helpful to count the breath. So you're trying to find this idea of symmetry. With each inhale, find that lengthening. It's like you're growing taller. With each exhale, you're breathing down into your sit bones so you feel that rootedness, that anchoring sensation, and the two really support each other. Good, you can blink your eyes open here. Stretch your arms forward. So wrists are in line with your shoulders. You can kind of plug those arm bones into the shoulder socket. And then let's interlace our fingers. Just notice what finger goes on top. Press your palms away. Keep finding that idea of arm bones plugging into the shoulder sockets. And then you can kind of feel those shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other at the center of your back. Hold on to this, firm the upper arms. Start to lift the arms up overhead. So little shoulder stretch. Notice if you start to puff your front ribs out, soften them back. So again, just keeping that nice sense of length through your spine. And if you're tighter in the shoulders, your hands might be slightly forward. That's fine. So you don't need to go back all the way. Good. Release fingertips. So palms face towards each other as you exhale. Take a nice, easy forward fold here. Really root back into your sit bones. Find length through the sides of your waist. Your hands could be on blocks in front of you. You might be pretty high up on fingertips. So first little hip stretch of the day, and we're not particularly warm, so you don't need to go deep, but you are noticing how you're feeling. And then we're going to find a little twist here. So we're just going to start to walk our arms off to the right, any amount. And again, it doesn't need to be very deep. See if you can twist this lowermost left rib down towards that right thigh. And then just notice how all of the other ribs come along for the ride. As you notice that you've lost your breath or you've gotten distracted, just come back to it. Good, walk back to center. With your arms, slowly roll on up. And then extend your legs to straight. So just recross with that left shin in front. And notice how this side feels different. So there's usually one side that's a little bit tighter. So you're just observing that. And then you're finding that nice seat again. So rooting down into your sit bones. You're feeling your shoulder blades stack there. This gorgeous length through the sides of your waist. Close your eyes again. Drop into that quiet space. Just let yourself go there. And we've all done this a lot, many years. So we've gotten pretty good at this. That being said, some days it can just be a little trickier than others. So if that's the case for you today, don't worry about that too much. Just do the best you can. This isn't supposed to look perfect. Blink your eyes open. On your next inhale, stretch the arms forward again. Plug the arm bones into the shoulder socket. So feel those shoulder blades squeezing in towards each other. And then interlace the fingers a way that feels funny. Press your palms forward. Good. And then start to lengthen arms up any amount. Use this sensation to help it feel like you're getting more length through the sides of your waist. But then again, as you exhale, breathe into your sit bones. Maybe feel that inner arm wrap towards your outer arm. So that's that action that we talk about in our downward facing dog. So it helps us to widen across the backs of our shoulders. And then let's just start to bend our elbows here. So the palms are going to turn to face forward. So just do a little shoulder stretch before we take that forward fold and twist. So stretch out through your elbows. As you exhale, drop the right elbow down. Inhale to center. Good. Exhale, left elbow drops. Inhale to center. Good. Exhale, drop the right one down. Again, notice if you start to puff out your ribs, sitting nice and tall. As you exhale and drop that right elbow, just hold here. Try to press that right shoulder head back. Stretch the left elbow up. So you're going to be feeling some things here. Keep breathing. Smile a little, even though it's intense. Good. Come back to center on your inhale. And then exhale, drop that left elbow down. Right elbow reaches up. You might even lean your head back into the forearm a little bit. That might intensify the stretch. You're pressing this left shoulder head back. It's kind of like our Gomukhasana arms a little bit. So our cow face arms. Good. Back to center. Ooh, that torture is almost over. Inhale, stretch your arms up. As you exhale, root into your sit bones as you hinge forward. Fold in. So keep the sides of your waist nice and long. You don't have to go super deep here. And just finding that place that feels good for you. Finding your breath again, coming back to that sound of the breath. And then from here, we start to walk our hands off to the left. So just finding that twist there. And again, just think wrapping that lowermost rib to the left and then the other ribs on top, they just come along for the ride. Arms are fairly active here. Kind of feels like you have downward facing dog arms. You're noticing if this side feels different at all. Perhaps even in your body, it feels like that right sit bone is getting light. So could you just imagine that somebody's just gently applying a little pressure? You had a sandbag on that thigh, just helping to root you down. Good, we walk back to center here. And then we roll on up. Flip onto your hands and knees, so coming to your tabletop. And let's just start to move into some cat-cow. So you know the setup. You got shoulders over wrists, fingers spreading, knees under hips. Inhaling into your arch. As you exhale, you round and press the mat away. And then just continue like that. It might feel really nice again to close your eyes here. Start to really pay attention to your spine. What is going on today? How is it feeling? Hopefully in an hour, it's going to be feeling better, a little more space and ease, strength and flexibility. Also just start to really let yourself enjoy this sense of moving with the breath. So for a lot of us, it has this nice calming quality. Kind of can get us into that sweet little zone. Good, as we inhale, we're gonna come back to neutral spine, neither arching nor rounding. Walk your hands a couple inches forward. Spread fingers, press evenly. Curl your toes under. Keep a bend in your knees as you start to pull your sit bones up towards the ceiling. And then just adjust your feet so that they're hips distance apart. Squeeze the forearms in towards each other. Stay up on those left toes. Start to melt your right heel back any amount. It might not make it to the floor. That's absolutely fine, especially this first downward dog, which always feels incredibly intense. Back up to tippy toes on both feet as you exhale. Left heel presses back. Back up to tippy toes. Bend in the knees. As you exhale, keep stretching the sit bones up towards the ceiling. As you straighten the legs any amount, and they probably won't come to straight as you release the heels back any amount. And then just make sure that you're gazing between your feet so the neck is nice and long. Oh, these look good. And then start to walk your hands back to meet your feet, nice and easy. So when you get there, you take that nice forward fold. Just grab opposite elbows and keep a bend in your knees. Just start to sway a little bit from side to side. Check in with the back of the neck. It likes to grip here, let it go. And the hamstrings get really tight here. So again, that bend in the knee is nice. It just takes some of that work out. And as we start to warm up, we can start to straighten the legs more. Change the cross of your arms. Nod your head yes. Nod your head no. And then release fingertips down to the mat. Good, as you inhale, keep that bend in your knees. Slowly roll up to your Tadasana mountain pose. So arms by your side, palms facing forward. Thinking a little cobra pose here in the upper body. So there's that opening across the heart and chest. And then we just start to flow a little bit here. As you inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. These look beautiful. As you inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold back in. Root into your feet. Take up space as you rise up. Really nice. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, reaching. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen forward. Good, as you exhale, you fold. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. 2 more on your own, just moving with your breath, maybe close your eyes. Enjoying how these feel. Always nice to do some sun salutes on a day in which the sun is shining again after a cold snap. Beautiful work, everyone. Good. When you're done with your second round, just pausing a moment, palms together at your heart. You can kind of just bring your gaze down to your fingertips, or you might have your eyes closed still. Even out the breath. And we're going to start to add on. So as you exhale, release your arms by your side. As you inhale, arms reach out and up. Exhale, hinge forward, fold in. So gaze slightly forward, nice and easy. Take your time. Walk forward into your downward dog. Keep your heels pressing back as long as you can. They're going to lift at some point. That's cool. Good. And then as we inhale, we're going to pull our belly in, shift our shoulders over our wrists. So reach back through your heels. Feel the shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other. Keep your gaze an inch or two in front of your fingertips. Fire up the legs. A few more breaths here in the plank pose. You can always modify by coming down to your knees, but enjoy this heat that you're creating. Good. And then option to come to your knees. We're going to shift forward on our toes, lower halfway. Chaturanga, you might be a little higher than halfway. And then come onto your belly. Tops of the feet press, roll to the outer edge of your foot a little bit. So really make sure that you're pressing into all 10 toenails. As you inhale, chest extends forward and up, low cobra, not a big back bend. As you exhale, release down. Inhaling up. Good, nice work. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, roll on up. Keep the elbows squeezing in. As we exhale, we lower. Inhale here. Good, couple of breaths. And kind of fire up the legs. You're gonna feel those outer hips, those glutes squeeze in, as the inner thigh spirals up. Okay, so from here, curl your toes under. Fire up the legs so the shin, the knees are lifting up, even kind of the lower part of the top of the thigh. And then from here, using your hips, press into your hands, just pull right back to downward dog. And then we take a couple of breaths, make any adjustments that you need. So check your feet again, make sure that they're hips distance apart. And then forearms squeezing in towards each other. These look really nice. As you inhale, you find a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. Lots of options. You can walk forward, you can step right then left, you can hop through. So whatever feels best right now. Inhale, chest extends. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, root down into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Good. As you inhale, reach. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep looking forward, bend knees, plant palms, left foot back, then right foot. Few breaths here in the plank pose. So feel this heat build, fire up the legs. Make sure that you're not either sticking your buns up too high towards the ceiling or releasing them down towards the floor. So you want to be right in the center there. And then again, we shift forward on our toes. Maybe come to knees, lower halfway, hover all the way down. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale up, Bhujangasana. Exhale, lower down. Inhale up, hold here. And then if you feel ready for an upward dog, drag your hands back, wrists underneath your elbows. As you inhale, press into the tops of your feet, press into your hands, press your shoulders back, gaze forward. Nice, these look good. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Tiny little adjustments, and then you drop into this place of stillness right away. Inner thighs spiraling back, and you can also feel the front of the thigh press towards the back of the thigh. Keep stretching those sit bones up. So that just helps you to find length in the spine and in the legs. As you inhale, find a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, walk forward, step left and right, or hop through. Inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, you fold in. Maybe those legs are starting to straighten a little more as those hamstrings warm up. Maybe not. Inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Couple more of these. Inhale, take up space. Exhale, feel spacious even as you fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend knees, plant palms, right foot way back, then left. Inhale here in plank. Exhale, shift forward on your toes, lower halfway. You can hover this time or come all the way down. Inhale into your low cobra or your upward facing dog. As you exhale, you pull back. Downward facing dog. Just kind of checking in here. Reconnecting with the breath, letting it slow down if it has started to speed up. Observing how this dog is feeling a little different already. Good. As we inhale, a little bend in the knees, come to the tippy toes. End of your exhale, step right then left, walk forward or hop through. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press down into your feet, stretch arms out and up. Good. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. One more. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens forward. Keep looking forward, bend knees, plant palms, left foot back, then right. Extra inhale here in this plank today. Just feel that heat. Keep the legs really active, shift forward, maybe come to knees lower. Hover or come all the way down. Inhale into your back bend. As you exhale, you pull back, downward facing dog. Let's take a nice deep inhale here. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. All right, so as we inhale, let's lift our right leg up. As you exhale, use your belly to step that foot through. Have a nice little bend in this left knee, and then also make sure that your feet are hips distance apart. With that bend in your knee, rise up into your crescent pose. All right, so as we inhale, we're gonna straighten both legs. Feel right hip pull back, left hip forward. Exhale, sink in. Nice. Inhale, press up. Good, exhale, sink in. Inhale, press up. Good, exhale, sink in. And then we're gonna adjust here. So we're gonna open up into our warrior two. So you're gonna heel toe your right foot to the left. Spin into the back edge of that left foot. So your heel to arch. And then arms come out nice and wide. So just getting into this hip. So whereas in our crescent pose, both hips were facing the same direction, they're not here. You are squaring your torso to the long side of your mat. Feels like you're pressing that right knee back behind you. Press more into the back edge of that left foot. All right, and then we're just gonna move with the breath here a little bit. Inhale, press that front leg to straight, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, sink in. Nice work. Inhale. Exhale, come on in, one more. Inhale, press up. Good, as you exhale, sink in. Spin your right palm to face up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, find your reverse warrior. Good, take an exhale here. And then inhale, press to the inner edge of that right foot, find your reverse triangle. Exhale, bend that knee again. Good, inhale, come to your warrior two. And then exhale, we're just gonna place our right elbow on that right thigh. You can even kind of press back so you feel more of that big hip stretch, and then that top arm comes up and over. So you're getting this nice lateral stretch, this lengthening through the left side. As you're finding that, see if you can find a little lengthening through the right side of your waist, and then maybe roll those right ribs up towards the ceiling. Good, let's inhale, rise up, Virabhadrasana 2. Ooh, we're starting to feel the heat now. This is good because we're close to moving into the yin portion of our practice. Windmill arms up and over. Your choice, Chaturanga Vinyasa, or you simply pull back to your downward facing dog. Nice work. Okay, so from here, as we inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. So feet hips distance apart, bend that right knee. It's gonna help you to direct your tailbone down as you inhale, rise up. Good, take an exhale here. And then think outer hip squeezing in a lot. Inhale, press both legs to straight. Exhale, bend both knees. Good, inhale, straighten out. Left hip back, right hip forward. Exhale, bend in. Good, inhale, press to straight. And then exhale, sink in. And we're gonna transition into our Virabhadrasana 2. So heel toe, left foot to the right. Spin into the back edge of your left foot. We are heel to arch here. Arms come out wide. And you sink in nice and deep in this left knee. So hips not square, but torso facing towards the long edge of your mat. Good. Really press to the inner edge of this left foot. So you're feeling this big hip opening. It's like you're pressing that knee behind you. Same time, you're sealing into the back edge of this right foot. You're feeling this right thigh firm up. Here we go. Inhale. Front leg comes to straight, arms reach up overhead. Exhale in. Good. Inhale, press up. And we exhale, come in, one more. Inhale, come up. As you exhale, sink in, flip your left palm to face up. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Good, take an exhale here. And then inhale, press that front leg to straight. So we're finding our reverse triangle pose. Good, as you exhale, bend that front knee, come back to your Virabhadrasana 2. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, left elbow to that left thigh, maybe kind of pull back, take your top arm up and over. So feeling this nice long stretch through that right side of the waist. See if you can get your left side as long as that right side. And then start to spin your ribs up. Left ribs up towards the ceiling, any amount. These look great. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Good, and then as you exhale, windmill arms up and over. One final Chaturanga Vinyasa, if you would like one. Otherwise, you're pulling back to your downward facing dog. Good, and then when you get there, take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth. Sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. So for our first yin stretch today, I want to come into a back bend on our bellies, and I'm going to give you an alternate option as well, in case that's not feeling, oh, you guys can all come out of your downward dog. I'm so sorry. Keep you hanging there. All right, so go ahead and come down to your knees. So I'm going to just demo this really quick, what we're going to be doing. Let me find my timer here. So our options are going to be, and you might want to have some blocks handy. We're going to hold this for about 3 minutes. So if you are in it and you want to play with some of the variations that I'm showing you, you are more than welcome to do that. So don't feel like you have to stay in this pose for the full 3 minutes. So as you know, these holds can be pretty intense. And then also, we're not so much worried about contracting the muscles like we have been. We're more trying to get a deep stretch into the joints, into the fascia. So we kind of relax the muscular effort. And interestingly enough, we get a pretty intense stretch. We do need props sometimes. And it's this fine line between feeling some sensation and it's a little uncomfortable, but then going beyond that and potentially injuring yourself. So be very mindful of that. And if there is any doubt in your mind, do less. So this is me telling you to be a slacker today. All right, so option 1, I'm just gonna come into our Sphinx pose. So your shoulders will land over your elbows, and you can just watch these again really quick if you want to. If you were wanting to take this and you kind of relaxing here, I actually find it's nice to engage the glutes if this is a little intense in your lower back. If you want to go a little further, maybe you put your forearms on blocks. So kind of that same sensation here. Finally, If you want to press into hands, you can also do that. So this is called seal pose. If these options aren't working for you today, a good alternate would be to come onto your supported bridge pose. So you would come onto your back and slide the block underneath. Any height is fine. So you're getting more of a lower body back bend, but this still feels really nice. So I will kind of show those again, but you can start to make your way to the variation that feels good. So again, you can be on your back. Maybe you're just coming into your just traditional Sphinx pose. And maybe you start here and just give this, a minute or so. It's interesting, sometimes as you hold these, you start to feel even aches in different parts of the body that you wouldn't expect. So you can always go deeper here if you wanted to take forearms on your blocks. And that feels okay. It doesn't put undue pressure in your lumbar. You can do that. The other place that you might feel this is in the shoulders too. So it's kind of hard to soften there, but see if you can. And then finally, maybe you're pressing into your hands. So I find that in this yin practice, the breath becomes really, really important because these poses can be intense. It's a little different than our restorative practice when we're allowing our body to take the shapes of the props. This is like active in a passive way, and it's intense. So if you can keep that breath moving, and you're certainly welcome to do the Ujjayi here. I like that. I like the sound. Again, it's kind of like this focal point for my mind. You could even play with other forms of pranayama. So like maybe you're inhaling to the count of 6, pausing for 6, exhaling to the count of 6, and then pausing at the bottom. So we've got about a minute here. If you are happy where you're at, that's where you stay. If you need to adjust it all, please do. Whether that means going a little deeper or backing out a bit. I always think that's the harder choice to make, and I think sometimes it's the smarter one to make and the safer one to make. So the object is to not suffer here. We do want some deep stretching. But this doesn't need to be like masochistically uncomfortable. All right, so take a nice deep inhale wherever you're at. So if you are on your belly, just make your way out. And if you're on your back, just press into your feet, lift your hips up off the block and remove it out from underneath you. So make like a little pillow with your hands if you're on your belly and just rest your head there. Good, and then we're gonna lift up our legs, and you can do this on your back too. If you're on your back, walk your feet as wide as your mat. And we're just gonna start to windshield wiper the legs back and forth just to get a little release in that lumbar. Okay, so from here, just go ahead and press on up. And if you're on your back, you can roll up really quick. So I'm gonna show you the next sequence really quick and some variations. So you don't need to come into this yet. I just wanna show you where we're going. So we're gonna come into our dragon pose first. So we know this is lizard stretch, and a few options here. You might be a high flying dragon here. You might have your hands resting on blocks. You might come in a little lower. A few of us might play with coming down to our forearms. And again, these are all options. You can kind of play with all of them. You don't have to be static in one. From here, we are going to make our way in to our resting swan. So, you know, this is pigeon pose, single pigeon in just our vinyasa practice. So we'll be here for a couple of minutes, and then we are going to move towards our half butterfly. So this is a nice little groin stretch, hip stretch. And typically, so this is our Shavasana pose. Typically, we're keeping the leg really engaged, the spine nice and long. We're not going for that action here. You get to be, like I said, you can kind of make the pose ugly. But it's really nice as you fold in to rest head on a block, and my spine is rounding a lot here. That's totally okay. So variations for all of these poses seated if it's not working for you. Laying down. For the dragon pose, you can do this variation here. You might even keep that extended leg bent. So just pulling down, you might be able to pull down on the outer edge of your feet. So kind of like a half happy baby. From here, you might then segue into your reclining pigeon pose. And it could be like this or a little deeper. And then for that half butterfly pose, you might be able to take that foot to the inside and then interlace fingers around the thigh. So you're not getting as deep of a forward fold, but you're getting a little bit of that action. You also might simply recline here. So it becomes more of a groin stretch. You might even find that you need to take a block underneath. So we're headed in that direction. Play around as you get settled, and shout at me too if you need to unmute if you have questions. And we're going to do 2 minutes for each of those stretches. So coming into some version of your dragon pose. So that might look, and just remember which leg you have forward. I'm going to take my right leg forward. Actually, let's all take our right leg forward. So this is on the same side. All right. So you might be hands just pressing into your thigh, or hands on blocks is really nice. Big, big hip flexor stretch here. You might find that you want to come in a little lower, so you could walk your right foot off to the right a little bit, hands to the inside of the foot. And then a few of us might play with coming down to forearms or forearms on block. And that definitely intensifies where you start to feel things. So you might not be able to be there the full 3 minutes. You don't need to be. And then finally, you might be on your back here. So grabbing the right thigh, gently pulling down. Your left leg could be extended. And if that's not working, you keep that left knee bent. You also might be able to grab the outer edge of your foot. So lots of variations here. And again, notice if you're gripping muscularly. So again, we're trying to feel these stretches kind of in the joints and the fascia. Tension might creep into your face and jaw. So you soften there, you smile a little bit, you back out a little bit if you need to. Ooh. All right, so we made it. So from here, we're gonna start to come back into our sleeping swan pose. So left leg is back, just kind of start to heel toe that right foot over. And I think for this long held variation, we want to have our left heel pretty close to that left hip. So a lot of times we're going for a deeper hip stretch. We're going to get a nice hip stretch just because we're going to be in this for quite a bit. And then also maybe you want to give yourself a little support here. So a blanket, a block underneath that right cheek. And then you start to fold your way in any amount. If you're on your back here, you're going to take your right ankle above your left thigh. And then you might just simply stay there like that in your reclining pigeon. Maybe you start to bend your left knee into your chest. Breath smooth and steady. And again, kind of just doing any pranayama that might help you to focus and be in the pose. I find with the yin practice too, sometimes we really want to go for it. We want to get into the pose. We're holding here for a long time. So go less deep. You can always get in deeper if your body allows, but sometimes we push too hard and it's too much. The other thing that sometimes it can be nice to put a little padding under that back knee. I should have warned you about that sooner, but especially in these longer holds, it can start to feel pretty intense. It can also be really nice to rest your head on something here. So bolster in front of you, some blocks. And get curious about where the sensations are happening in your body, especially on this side, and we're going to notice how it's different side to side. You've got a few more good breaths here. Again, are you gripping anywhere that you don't need to? Are you kind of engaging muscles that you don't need to? You might be firing up that left hamstring. Let it go. All right, so we start to walk hands in here. If you're on your in your sleeping swan, if you're on your back, just go ahead and release that hip stretch. So seated, we're going to take this left leg up and over. So a little half butterfly pose here. So the sole of the right foot comes to the inside of the left thigh. You don't have to worry about articulating this left foot. And then we're going to fold in here. And like I said, it's going to be an ugly fold. We're not trying to keep our spine long. So bolster on your thigh is nice. Block underneath the head. So just melt in here. Play with that. And then if you're on your back and you want to try this version, you're welcome to do so. So your left leg will be extended straight. If you want to stay on your back, maybe you can bring that foot to the inside of your left thigh, right foot to the inside of the left thigh, and then interlace your fingers around your left thigh, gently pull in. So you're kind of getting the benefits of the forward fold. The other thing you might do is just kind of come into a reclining tree pose here. So definitely you'll feel that in the groin, the outer hip. You might even find that you need to take a little block underneath that right thigh just to give you a little support. So lots of options. Always back out a little bit if you need to. Check in with your breath here. And maybe just even observe. So we're so, used to our vinyasa practice and engaging. Is it hard to kind of let go of that? Is it hard to let the foot relax? Just noticing. And again, you can always melt in a little more if you have the space in your body. As we're in these poses a little longer, maybe you need to back out a little bit. So sensation, yes. It's a little uncomfortable, yes, but never going beyond that. We've got a few more good breaths here. So if you're in that forward fold seated, just start to roll on up. And let's take our right hand to the outside of that right thigh. Just give your legs a little shake. If you're on your back, just releasing out of this and then hugging knees in. You can rock a little bit from side to side. And then we're going to set up for that sequence on the second side. So coming into some version of your dragon pose on the left side. So you're going to step your left foot forward. Good. So you just might be here. You can be pretty tall up, fingertips on blocks. So just really getting into that hip. If you feel like you want to go into some other places, maybe your hands come to the inside of that left foot. Your hands could even be on blocks here. Maybe you bring forearms to blocks. Maybe you bring your forearms to the floor. That's pretty intense. So if you're there and you need to come out at any point, you're welcome to do so. And then again, if you're on your back, you are gently pulling down on your left thigh. And your choice is to whether or not that right leg is extended. Maybe you're grabbing the outer edge of the foot and gently pulling down. So kind of getting a lot of the same actions that you would be if you were upright. It's always good to be willing to adjust to, so, you know, some of us were pretty open most of the time, but some days we'll get on our mat and into our practice. We're just really tight. And it's important to listen to that and to modify and maybe do the pose that you might deem to be like the lesser version. Let that go. There's real wisdom in knowing when to be gentle to ourselves and when to back out, back off. How is this side feeling different than the other side? Is there anything noticeable to you? Check in with your breath again. Make sure that it hasn't gotten ragged. Make sure that you're not holding the breath. And then check in with the face and jaw so they're soft, relaxed. Maybe even just make sure that there's not tension in your fingers and toes. Got a few more breaths here. Okay, so if you're on your back, you just start to release your reclining dragon. And if you're in some version of the dragon pose, just make your way out, and then we're going to start to heel toe this left foot off to the right. We're going to make our way into this reclining swan pose. So again, as you lengthen back through that right leg, just notice if you need a little support underneath your left cheek there. And then you start to fold in any amount. If you're on your back, you're crossing your left ankle above your right knee. You could keep your right foot on the floor, or maybe you are hugging that knee in. So both good options. If you are in your reclining pigeon, maybe, or your reclining swan, perhaps you rest your head on a block or even take a bolster kind of underneath your belly and your head. And you're breathing here. Noticing how this side feels different. Making any adjustments that you need to. So not being caught up in the idea that you have to be like static here. You have to stay here because it's what you chose. If it's not feeling right, do a different variation. Even as you're in the intensity of these stretches, just kind of enjoying the strength and the grace of your body. knowing that you're doing something good here. A few more good breaths. Good. As you inhale, you start to make your way out wherever you're at. So if you're upright here, you're going to take your right leg, swing it forward. You could be sitting up on something here. So sole of the left foot comes to the inside of the right thigh. And then again, you don't have to worry about flexing that foot. Fold in any amount. You can give yourself lots of height here. You can round in your spine. So it can be really ugly. And then if you're on your back here, a couple of options. Ooh, as I lay back on the blocks. So maybe you can bring the sole of that left foot to the inside of your right thigh and then interlace your fingers around the back of the thigh. You could even do that with a strap if you're a little bit tighter. And then the other option would be kind of just come into this reclining tree pose, perhaps sliding a block underneath that left knee if you're feeling any tension there that's not good. Breath smooth and steady. So almost done with this little series here. Again, really trying to soften the muscles. Definitely not muscling yourself into these poses, which we do sometimes. So trying to accomplish something different here. If you're wondering about the names in the yin practice, so obviously we're taking a lot of the same shapes. So the idea behind that is to sort of facilitate this idea of letting go and getting in deeper. So just kind of like using different imagery to help us find that mechanism. We've got a few more good breaths here in this half butterfly. Which definitely sounds very different than Janu Shavasana or head to big toe pose. Good. So if you're forward folding, go ahead and roll on up. Use your left hand to help draw that left knee in. Give the legs a little shake out here. And if you're on your back, you're just releasing out, giving your knees a hug into your chest. And then I want to come into a nice thoracic heart opener here. So a couple of options for this. You can use 2 blocks. So we're going to kind of be in a fish pose here. So this first block hits underneath your back bra strap. So kind of like mid-rib area. So shoulder blades are releasing down, and then you have a block for your head potentially. Few of us might feel good. And if you've got a long neck, just letting the head release down. Legs can extend here. And again, you don't have to flex the feet. You can allow them to turn out. So variation number 2, you're going to take a blanket, roll it up. So it's going to be the same setup. We've all done this before. Laying back here. So kind of hitting that same spot. So you want your shoulder blades to release down into the mat. And then you can make cactus arms here. And then legs can be extended. If it doesn't feel good in your lower back, by all means, bend your knees. So choosing either of those options, we've got a couple of minutes here. Feel this lift, this openness across your heart. And really connect with the breath and how it feels here. Especially that inhale. Notice the expansion that's happening. And if you're on the blocks and it's feeling too intense, just make your way out of that and do the pose over a blanket instead. You could use a towel. Let's take a few more good breaths. So if you are on a blanket, you can just roll off to one side. You can do this on the blocks as well. You can kind of roll off them, move them out of the way. For some of us, it'll feel easier to press into the forearms and then roll up. And we're going to come into our Shavasana. So you might want to take your roll up underneath your knees. Another nice little Shavasana can be, this is called a floating Shavasana. So you would take, if you have a couple of blocks, just take those blocks underneath your feet. So you can play with that and see what you think. Of course, if there is tension in your lower back, it might be better for you to take your feet wide, allow your knees to knock in. So just find a final resting pose and completely surrender here. So we're not trying to stretch anything. We're not trying to muscle anything in. We're trying to relax completely. We're trying to absorb all of the benefits of the work that we've done today. Just let it settle into our bodies. And we're giving ourselves these final few moments to go inside, to connect, to be still. Good. Let your next inhale be deeper. And open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And just start to bring some gentle movement back to your body. Wiggle, stretch, make circles with your wrists and your ankles. And staying soft and quiet, roll to one side or the other. And then use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. So perhaps finding that Sukhasana that we started class with, but notice how it feels different. Notice what's shifted for you this past hour, physically, mentally. How is your breath different? Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up and working hard. Promise yourself that you're going to carry some of this feeling with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart. And just bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today. Thank you. Namaste. Go enjoy the sunshine. Finally. And the balmy 40 degrees.
Thanks, Jana.
Thanks, everyone. That went fast today.
Good.
We might have to start doing 45 minutes of the yin stretches if you guys are game. All right. Everybody have a good weekend.
You too.
Weekend. Good Tuesday. We're not there yet. I'm thinking it's Thursday. I'm ahead of myself. I'll see you Thursday. Bye. Thanks, Pamela.
Thank you. Bye, Jana.
Have a good one.
Thank you.